Hey, good evening, or good day, or good morning, wherever you are. Hey, Timothy, great that you're here. Alberto is tuning in from Spain, probably, and people from India. This is amazing. It should be really late in India right now. Um, Timothy wants to hear blues music. I don't know what you want to hear. What's Arcade Warrior? Please let me know. I want to check that out. Hey, Crossbones Alex, great that you're here. So, I'm in Cologne right now, um, and sorry for not doing the live stream last week. It was just because of unexpected travel schedules, and I was in Berlin earlier last week for a press conference. Thank you so much to everyone who already like sent congratulations to me because I won a little music award that's being awarded later this year, but the press conference was last year or last week. Sorry. um, and after that, I came directly to Cologne. So I didn't have all my gear with me, so I borrowed the audio interface. I bought new headphones. I bought the same camera again, so I can do the stream. Um, Crossbones Alex can't see anything. I hope you can see me. I'm gonna double check right now, but I can see myself if I check out the stream. Yeah. Great that there are people from Germany too. Yeah, so the piece in the beginning I played was the Bach Minuet in G major, and my idea was since I'm so involved in classical music right now, and I won that Opus Award, which is actually kind of like the German Grammy for classical music. And there will be an awards ceremony that will be broadcasted on TV on 13th of October. And I will perform with my duo partner Benjamin Nuss there, which is very exciting. And that's the reason why I thought it was a good idea to do some classical music playing on the harmonica in this live stream today. So I already asked you in our Facebook group, which I linked below, which songs you want to learn. Most of you wanted to learn something by Bach, which makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I would just go right into that. Marco, great that you're here. Maybe you're staying. Can I play some blues music on the harmonica? Oh yes, I would love to play more blues music on the harmonica. I don't know. Today I had a very exciting rehearsal playing jazz music for another amazing trumpet player here in Cologne. And I'm playing a lot of melodies, but what's new for me is also like playing stuff that's like just a regular horn section part. So it's difficult music, and it's hard to sight read. And if you play on an A flat harmonica or on a low F sharp, that's a hard exercise, but it's great. And you really gotta listen to the other players and consider how you sound on the instrument a lot, especially if we play like that canon thing. So yeah, it's 9 p.m. CET already. It is, right? Yeah. Hey Leo, great that you're here, tuning in from Russia. So, first of all, I wanted to know if you already played classical music on the harmonica. If so, please let me know which songs, or which pieces, I should rather say. Timothy wants to hear blues. I don't know if I want to play blues here, but we will get a little bluesy. So I will do another lesson on blues stuff, I think. I played a bluesy melody today. That guy on trumpet, he studied in New York, and he recorded parts of his recordings in New York with his New York band, and they played German folk songs. And now he's recording the other half of his CD here in Germany with German people, but playing US American folk songs. So we're even playing Oh Susanna in like weird time signatures, and Ezekiel saw the wheel, which is very bluesy. Let me see. That was on the B flat. Maybe you know that song. We're playing Swanee River, and a river song which is made up of two songs, I think. That's a melody I knew. All these beautiful melodies, and these are like heavy jazz arrangements, but beautiful melodies and a great band. But I gotta practice that stuff. We also have a violin in that band, which is exciting because harmonica and violin works out great, especially in the folk context. And it's nice to listen to the other instrument and trying to intonate well. We're playing Old Dan Tucker. Yeah, these are the pieces we play. That's really nice. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, so Crossbones Alex played Jesus Joy of My Desiring. That's great. Mendelssohn Violin Concerto in E minor. Wow, that's amazing. I gotta check that out. And hey, Muhammad, great that you're here. So, one of the easiest pieces you can probably play, or the first ones you could think of in classical music, would be playing Ode to Joy, right? If I just take out my C harmonica here. So even if you play a very, very easy melody on the harmonica in classical music, there are different things to consider compared to playing blues or playing jazz or playing other styles of music. And when I started playing classical music on the harmonica, which was probably 3 years ago, in these 3 years I learned a lot from my pianist who just studied classical music. And he knows how to play jazz, and his father is a jazz trombone player. So we know both, and he can teach me how to execute some of the classical stuff to, be taken seriously in classical music. So yeah, one of the most important things is just articulation, and also playing legato and connecting the notes. So that's something that's a big thing already with a melody like this. You will have a lot of notes that you gotta play like 2 times after each other, or 3 times playing the same note, and you gotta articulate them. So if I start Ode to Joy on the E on 5/4 blow, the second note is also an E, and I want to articulate it. I want to make clear that it's another note. Of course, I want to play a single note, but in this case, like with some of the pieces, the beginning pieces we're going to talk about, you can also play them with double stops. If you have a good tone, if you have a big embouchure, if you think in big vocals, then it will sound good, even if you have like 5 holes in your mouth. So that's a big exercise to articulate the note with a da, saying da through the instrument. And the most important thing at the same time is just to keep breathing through the instrument. If you don't do that, then it won't sound good. You want to connect them, but still. Make clear that it's another note. So I would just play the regular C major scale. And even if I play every note one single time, I'm already articulating some of the notes, especially the draw notes. In general, the draw notes or the bendable notes on holds 1 to 6 draw and 7 to 10 blow, you can articulate them way clearer than holds 1 to 6 blow and 7 to 10 draw. That's why I'm articulating the D, the F, and the A, 4-hole draw, 5-hole draw, and 6-hole draw when playing the major scale, and 7-hole blow. So if I write that down, let me type it in for you. But you probably know how to play the C major scale. Here you go. It's a tiny little difference. If I don't articulate at all, it sounds a little different. This is just my breath. It's a little more defined, I would say. What do you think? Do you think it's better this way? Or articulating D, F, A, and C? I'm doing it very strong right now, but you gotta find a good sweet spot. I would say this is more defined. But yeah, Friedegard says the first one was better. And I think it's no problem to do it like that on the harmonica as long as you're switching notes in between. Because as long as you switch notes, then the harmonica articulates the notes by itself. You can do stuff like... You don't have time to articulate there. And you don't have to. Oh, Ben, that's great that you're here. He's asking when, why, and how do I decide to articulate? That's so interesting. I would say it depends on the pitch of the note. Some of the lower bends are harder to articulate with your tongue. It's also about how to articulate them. I would say if you go down in the lower octave on the C harmonica, this is the half tone bend and the whole tone bend on 3, the B flat and the A. I still articulate them with my tongue, but it gets harder and harder the lower you go with that. Because after some time, if you really use the tip of your tongue, you get that sound, which can be an effect, but especially if you play like jazzier stuff or classical music, you probably don't want to have that sound in there. So the lower the band gets, the further in the back my tongue is hitting the upper part of my mouth. Yeah, so my tongue is actually, the lower the note gets, my tongue is curving down. And then I'm hitting the upper part of my mouth with this part and not any longer with this. two half tone bend, F sharp. That's a problem for me. It's easy to play like out of nothing and out of nowhere and just trying to intonate it very well and hit it on point. But if I involve my tongue here, I really don't like the sound. Because if I had to use my tongue, I can't do it further back. I have to do it again up front right now. This is something I just noticed. So, yeah, that's one thing. And also, I try to articulate the notes that are articulatable. Is that a word? I don't know. But yeah, so hold 1, 2, 6, draw. You can articulate them way stronger. And you're a little limited with a blow note here, which was 5/4 blow here. So these are great exercises. So that's what I was talking about. I would play the C major scale and just play every note like twice or 3 times or 4 times. So for every note I say harder, 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 harder. You can do these jumping exercises with that. It's limited. Unlimited. That's what I wanted to say. How about using a hard attack? Yeah. Especially on the lower bands, I would just do that instead of getting that bendy sound, unless it's an effect. So that's more like my throat then. So what I use for my throat vibrato, I'm also using that to articulate the lower bands. If I go down to G harmonica. It's just coming from the back of my mouth and it's the throat very gently, and at the same time I just try to intonate the note as well as possible, and that's how I try to hit the right pitch on the keyboard. So you can articulate each note twice, you can articulate them 3 times. It's just hada da hada da hada da hada da. You can do it without an instrument. And it's so important that these closed sounds of your mouth are as strong on the draw notes as they are on the blow notes. It's always harder for beginners and everybody to just talk while breathing in. That's it, right? So
you could actually practice talking while breathing in.
That could be an exercise. I don't know. It's a little weird, but Orglissando is Timothy asking. What do you mean by that? I don't exactly know. So
Da 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 da.
Maybe just like practicing to. I can't do it breathing in. I could do it some years ago. Yeah. But whistling is not the topic of today. So you can do it 4 times, 5 times, go anywhere. So that's a big exercise. Let me know if you tried it and how it works out. Can you do the 2-time thing, or 3 times, or 4 times? So an easier classical piece. I would say Ode to Joy is pretty easy. And I will also talk about some others now. But yeah, this is just a little exercise that came to my mind right now. That's like the piece I just played, right? That's old Dan Tucker. You also gotta articulate them. Like, without that, I really gotta think like about not doing it. You can't execute it, especially if like on this sheet there's also, you have these articulations here. You can't do them, so that's important. Hola, Mexico. Yeah, great, Victoria. Great that you're here. Like the triplets in How I Leave Promenade solo. Oh, what's that again? Is that Promenade solo where he's sweeping around, doing that stuff? All these arpeggios? That's probably what you mean. I think that's Promenade. But maybe it's something different. So this is all without bendings, but if you start to do that in other keys, in second position, including bendings, or a weird key like E, then there was a lot of throat involved because of the bendings, and basically like every note I play is articulated differently. So that's just a very, very important thing to be conscious of, because on other instruments, on other instruments like clarinet and saxophone, you're only blowing and you can articulate every note like the other one. Like, it doesn't depend on like how high it is or how low it is. So yeah. So that's one thing, articulating in classical music. The other thing I would say is playing legato. I'm playing all of this classical stuff with lip pursing. I do a lot of tongue blocking, but with tongue blocking you can play as legato. There was a time where I even transcribed like a Giant Steps solo, tongue blocked, but in the end it just sounded way, way better playing lip pursed. So now you really got to think about the different options you have, like from like switching from one note to another. So the easiest option you could have is you play 4-hole blow and you play an adjacent note that's on the same breathing direction, because then you just gotta move over to that hole and you just keep breathing. That's very important though. That's a good exercise to do that in a very controlled way. That's something a lot of people can't do on the harmonica. Playing that smooth, great exercise. And I also like that little passage, so let me write it down. Oh shit, that was wrong. Is that right? Yeah, it looks good. Hope you can see this. Victoria's asking, Levy articulates triplets in the bends on the third channel. Theme of the album, Steering Wheel by the Stars. Oh wow, yeah, I gotta check that out. I don't know. I gotta ask Howard. You can kind of fake it, and he does fake it very well. So I will re-listen to that. This is a nice little passage, I think. So you don't really have to articulate. I only articulate the first note of each line here. Just also to support and guide the listener. So yeah, what do you think about this exercise? I think it's really, really good, and it sounds good. It's a nice little. You can hear the chords underneath in your mind. So that's the easiest way of switching between notes you can think of. So that's the first step. Second step is playing a blow note and playing a draw note on the same hole, or the other way around. Playing a draw note, playing a blow note on the same hole. If I'm between holes 1 and 6, I play the blow note first without articulation, and then I articulate this draw note to separate it. As in the major scale. So that's the other step. Then you could play a note on one breathing direction, for example, hole 4, and then play the other breathing direction on an adjacent hole. So that would be something like 4-hole blow and 5-hole draw. It's just good to think about all these combinations, which movements you can make on the harmonica. If you just play the major scale like this, you can do all the jumps. Of course, all of them are without bendings right now. So, including bendings, that's another step and way harder again. I mean, the hardest thing you could think of would be, I don't know, playing a 3-hole half-step bend and then moving up to a 6-hole overblow or something. And you could work on that and playing that as legato as possible. That's an octave from B flat to B flat. And it's so hard. And these slow melodies in classical music are really good for this. Also, it's about swelling the notes. Very expressive and leading from one note into the other and building up tension like that. There's another important aspect for these melodies. I wrote down Brahms' Lullaby here too. That's a great exercise. And for the octave jumps, it's a good example to think about Somewhere Over the Rainbow. You always have these octave jumps in the beginning, and that's very, very smooth. So that you could just practice all the octave jumps on the harmonica. Who does that? Easy, C to C. D flat to D flat, 1 half step bend to 4 half step bend. Incredibly hard, but maybe something you want to practice. It makes you so much more flexible, and there's so many people or everybody on another instrument, they can just do it, of course. So Crossbones Alex says he does it a lot, doing these octave jumps, so that's amazing. Yeah, I think it gives you a lot of confidence, like playing other stuff. I don't want to even start with the E flat. So 1 whole overblow, 4 whole overblow. Yeah. And there might be even people or like tongue blocking players who want to do that, like tongue switching and playing through the left side of your mouth and then playing through the right side of your mouth. That's a little exercise I did. Playing the C major scale in that fashion. Playing the first octave from C to C, ascending, and then the next octave from D to D, descending, and so on. Something like that. Who does that on the diatonic harmonica? I think that's something that has huge potential on the diatonic harmonica. I mean, just imagining the things you could do with that if you get really comfortable with that technique. Okay, Timothy is asking if you can play chords on the harmonica. A few, but very few. We can play C on every blow note. Then we can play the dominant chord on the draw, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 draw, which is D, G, B, D, and F. In the middle octave, you can draw 4, 5, 6, getting a D minor triad, just as in the upper octave. And with a B, you could say you can get a B minor 7 flat 5. But besides that, there's not a lot. You can play a lot of double stops and cover some notes in between and make some chords clear with that. So you try to bend one note and then play the other one clean, stuff like that. And trills are also pretty important sometimes in classical music. Yeah, so and of course we know how to do trills in blues music. Like the most popular one would be switching between the D and the F, 4-hole draw and 5-hole draw. So that's easy, but incorporating that in a very rhythmic and elegant way in classical music, that's another step. And also, what if you have to trill between notes that aren't on the same breathing direction? That's very hard. If it's on the same hole, it kind of works. So if you're on hole 5, for example, or 6, blow and draw, gotta trill between E and F or G and A. It actually works better on the higher notes. And that's basically just mouth breathing. Not breathing down here. Not breathing here. I'm breathing basically inside my mouth, which is just I don't know, like a rabbit or something. That's a rabbit, right? Or which animal is that? Please let me know. Or hamster. Is a hamster the English word? Hamster is the German word. And I'm basically like pushing the air with my tongue, moving out and moving back. That's how I get that sound. You can get some weird effect with that. So yeah, that's about trills. Alex says to get accustomed to the position of all the notes on the harp and for expand over the whole range. Yeah, that's so true. So that's very hard, and that's way harder than on the violin. So Timothy, I'm sorry, but I wouldn't say that harmonica is easier to play than the violin. Everybody can do that on the violin. It's very hard for the diatonic harmonica. So this is very extreme, but it just, yeah, as Alex says, it expands your playing over the whole range of the instrument. So that makes you just way more relaxed in things that are easy. So yeah, another piece I wrote down is the Bach Minuet in G major. I think that's what I played in the beginning of the stream, right? So that's a beautiful melody too to check out, because so many asked for pieces by Bach. Oh yeah, you should play the Minuet again on your keyboard. Hey, Juai, great that you're here. Hope you're well. Did you actually do tongue side switches a while ago? You're a beast. You saw what I have to practice, so I'm not. But do tongue side switches a while ago. I do it a little bit, and it's as long as it sounds good, I incorporate it. I wouldn't incorporate it, of course, like playing a switch between E flat and E flat on the C harmonica, but besides that, I use it in my improvisations and stuff. It's a great effect, and there's so few people using that. And if one would really focus on this technique, on the diatonic harmonica, I think you can make sounds that nobody else ever did, and play things nobody else ever did on the diatonic harmonica. So that's in the back of my head to practice at some point. Oh, I don't really get what you're saying, Alex. Um, that's hard if you have to land on the spot without approaching. Yeah. Howard did everything. I'm not sure. He didn't do that tongue switch stuff a lot. He doesn't use it in improvisations, and if you do that, incorporating bendings and stuff, which is doable, I would say, you're doing something new. I think. Um, the Bach minuet that's in G major. If you look that up, it will hit you. So yeah, also another piece. I think Howard played that is the Bach Bourrée in E minor. Uh, I don't know if you know that, but that's a little more difficult. The other stuff I wrote down is, of course, Jesus Joy, which somebody asked about already. There's like the Howard Levy version of that. So also a great melody, and I think Jason Ritchie even plays the Bach minuet in some of his live performances. You can look them up. There's a great live performance of him at a German venue called Kornbrennerei in Brüleck. Very good recordings, and he's playing that very, very fast there. Something like that. Oh yeah, so Alex is talking about just landing on a certain note. That's a good exercise. It definitely is. Like every jump you can do on the instrument is worth practicing. So the piece I wanted to talk about today, I think I gotta do that in the next live stream. I have a great version of Bach's Bardinerie, and there are a lot of jumps in there, so we can get deeper into that. And it won't be too classical because we can play it as a bossa nova or as a funk song, as a hip hop song, and improvise over that because I wrote down some changes for that. But that's also about a lot of articulation, very, very clear, very distinct, and a lot of jumps. And you got to think about like how to move around on the harmonica. I already talked about that in another live stream, I think. It's like brushing your teeth. You can move the toothbrush. You can move your head, or you can move both, or do other stuff. So Victoria says you're right. It is to practice, as Itzhak Perlman says, slow practice, because if you learn slow, you will forget slow. Yeah, I kind of feel that. But yeah, that's also something I talked about with my jazz pianist. He said that he doesn't have to practice a lot to keep up his chops because he's practicing very, very consciously and exaggerating movements and practicing in slow motion and really, feeling into the key on the piano with his fingers to make it a more conscious thing for the brain to just memorize all that stuff. And that's very important, I would say, just consciousness while practicing. If you practice a very, very hard phrase, or which includes a lot of jumps, very, very consciously in slow motion, it can get so easy in the end playing it fast, rather than like starting out with a metronome and going up in like steps of 5 BPMs or something. That's crazy. That's not good for you. That's not musical. um, A and B trills. I don't know what you're talking about. Between A and B, that's a beautiful trill. Yeah. The other piece I wrote down is Sleep is Wake, which is one of the most beautiful pieces by Bach, I would say. It sounds very good on a low harmonica. You really gotta check it out. I just have a low F sharp here. And it basically ends in second position, but starts out in first. It's very, very beautiful. It's called Sleep is Awake by Bach. Very, very beautiful. And a lot of jumps. Jumping down from 5/4 blow to 2-hole draw, big jump, and then right getting into the bend. So playing the upper voice and then the lower voice and alternating between them. And there's a little inflection there, which is also mouth breathing. Because it's on the same hole. And then it's back in first position. Very, very beautiful key change. Very, very nice piece. You gotta check it out. So yeah, these are some classical pieces I wrote down with my pianist Benjamin Nils. We are playing some Bach flute sonatas. Actually, you should check out some flute pieces because they are the range of the flute is very, very similar to the one of the harmonica. So especially on the G harmonica, you can make sure, okay, I can play all of these notes, which is probably not the case if you're looking for a piece for cello or something. So one piece we play is the flute sonata in G minor. I think that's 1020 of the Bach Werkverzeichnis. That's how you call it, I think. BWV. Let me get my B flat. And then I gotta remember. Oh. And then it's very hard. It goes to like fifth position major. Something like that. I never played this without the sheet music, so I kind of remembered it like somehow. No, not everything entirely right, but there's like a little breaks in between, so I didn't play them, and I just thought of them. But yeah, that's a piece we play. That was the first movement. There are two other movements. The second one is way slower, but very, very beautiful. And the third one is very, very fast, even faster than this one. So that's a good thing to check out. Yeah, it's so hard to remember these and like keep focus here on the live stream. But yeah, you can check them out on the CD. And I play them better if I look at the sheet music. Because yeah, I think that's something that's weird for me. There are so many people in classical music who have had very early lessons on their instrument that they are playing on stage right now, and they played concerts, classical concerts, very early on. I don't know if they were 8 years old and they played little classical concerts, like music class evenings with their teachers. I didn't have that, so that's a weird thing for me to dive into classical music right now, after playing that for 3 years only, and never played a classical performance before. And the first time I did it, That was 2.5 years ago with my pianist, and it was crazy. I was like nervous as hell, because I mean, you can really hear like every mistake. That's different in jazz. That's different in blues. If you get lost, you get lost most of the time, um, and it's hard to get back in. And you really got to practice how to get in back, and really gotta have a deep knowledge of the song. Um, and yeah, it was also in my hometown, which was scary, because there are people in the audience. I mean, it was well visited, but you could still see like people's faces. I mean, I don't care if I play in front of thousands of people and I can't see like every single face. If I can see these people, and there are people that I somehow know, or people know about me and they heard about that I play harmonica, that's very, very weird. And then playing your first classical concert, crazy. But now it's getting better. So yeah, Peter Elliott wants to give up now. Oh no, don't. If Howard is in the audience, I think I don't have a problem with that. I'm so embarrassed with all the stuff. Like, for some months, I have some Skype lessons with him right now. And I always thought about, I mean, my students always told me, okay, I'm embarrassed to play in front of you on Skype right now. And I said, why? I don't understand. It's no problem. But now I understand when I had to play to Howard first on Skype. But yeah, just let me know if you're interested in private Skype lessons. I do that a lot on the evenings, like this time. And every student gets his or her own Dropbox folder, and I will upload stuff in there, like backing tracks and harmonica tablature and my recordings and stuff like that. That's great fun teaching via Skype. Okay, Timothy has to go. Goodbye. Great that you were here, and please tell everyone about the live stream. Victoria says, I'm intrigued by an ornament. What you wear, I don't know what you call it. You apply it more as a poggiatura, maybe. It sounds like water. I can't explain it, I'm afraid. That's probably something that's more likely coming from Jaden Ritchie, I think. So that might see, yeah. All that stuff. It's a nice little thing to incorporate these ornaments into classical music. If you're not able to do trills between two notes that are next to each other at that very moment on the piano. Because if it's just a little inflection, you can just move to the adjacent note on the harmonica and it sounds like a good inflection. You're not going to the right note that's written on the sheet, but rhythm is always more important than the notes you play. Yeah. So that's very exciting. Howard Levy will be my guest on the live stream, and he will come to Hamburg in late October, from Tuesday to Thursday, last week of October, starting his Europe tour there. And he will give a harmonica workshop or music workshop at the music school there. That will be on 29th, I think. On 30th, we're going to play a concert together with really like the best jazz musicians in Hamburg, and Howard and me, and we'll play some stuff together, maybe even some classical stuff. We are thinking about pieces to play right now. And yeah, I'm not sure, like there are people who he will also give single lessons to students of the music school, but I don't know if there are like few places left, and some of you are in Hamburg. Maybe we can arrange something and he can give a lesson to you. I don't know. Learn prices about my lessons. I can just tell you, like most of the people I teach weekly, but the rhythm is flexible, and I usually charge €60 for a 45-minute lesson. Yeah. So just get in touch through my website. I think it's linked below in the description box. Also check out the Facebook group we have. I would think about what educational material I can put in there for today's live stream. But please let me know what you think about doing Badinerie by Bach in the next live stream, which actually will be next week. So I do 2 live streams this month, which is my goal. Because after that, I'm on holidays, and I can't stream for 2 weeks. So next week, Thursday, that's 19th, same time, 9 p.m. CET. And yeah, Alex, just let me know about other topics you might be interested in. I could talk about overbending. I don't know if too many people are interested in that, but we can talk about that in the Facebook group linked below. So if you haven't joined, do that. Invite other people, other harmonica players, so they can watch the stream. And I think I can talk a little bit about overbending and how to get into that at the very beginning. So yeah, at the same time, I still have the idea of you maybe sending in your recordings. You can do that anonymously too if you want to. Just write in the email. Because I created this email address for you, which is Hohner live@konstantinreinfeld.com. You can send me your recordings to that email address, and in a future live stream, I can just listen to all of that with all of you, and we can give feedback together and get in touch through that, which will cover a lot of topics you're interested in. So I'm really excited if there will be more emails with your recordings in there. And yeah, just let me know if your name, if you don't want your name mentioned. So yeah, I think that's it for today. Alex has a last question. Do you think overblow on 1 and out of the box harp is possible? I would say so. I actually got 12 special 20 examples by Hohner, which I got to test, and let me get them real quick. So these are 4D harmonicas, and something inside is different. I don't know what. That's a D. That's not good. That's really bad. This one is really stable. Yeah, so there are definitely out of box harps where you can do it. It doesn't suck here. So I don't know what's different in this harmonica, but it's out of box and it's great. Better than other ones. So yeah. I hope you enjoyed today's live stream. If so, please let me know. Write a comment below if you still have questions. I would love to get in touch with you next week again. Same time, same place. Talking about Bach's Badinerie or another topic of your choice. We can talk about that in the comments here on Facebook. And please consider to send me your recordings to the email address. That would be fantastic. I would be really happy about that. So I hope you have a great evening or a great day wherever you are. See you next week. Bye-bye.